It's been 4 hours since Jason left me at the airstrip in the mountains. It's now gotten dark. There's a lot of strange sounds. In this video, we wanted to share the story of an interesting day and night in the life of our UIM Aviation ministry team in Mexico. On this particular day, my ministry partner and UIMA pilot Jason Farmer and I were out at the airport taking care of a few maintenance items on our Cessna 206. We were just about wrapped up when we received a call about a sick woman in a small town in the mountains. We quickly finished what we were doing and filed a flight plan for the medical evacuation flight. The organization that contacted us also provided a flight paramedic to care for the patient during the flight. We removed a couple of seats, secured a stretcher in the plane, and took off for the distant town. It was about a 35-minute flight out to the village airstrip over rugged terrain and across ridges and mountains. When we landed, we discovered that the patient was much worse off than our original information had led us to believe. We waited by the ambulance, praying fervently while the paramedics fought to save the woman's life. After about 40 minutes, she was deemed stable enough to transfer her to the airplane. Since she was in such bad shape, it was determined that the ambulance paramedic would need to accompany her to work alongside the flight paramedic to keep her alive during the flight. Since her husband was there as well, it was clear that we didn't have enough room in the airplane for all of us. So I volunteered to stay behind, knowing that it was probably too late in the afternoon for Jason to make another trip to come back for me. I watched the airplane take off without me, not knowing how or when I would get back to Tepic and my family. After the airplane took off, the ambulance crew was kind enough to give me a ride into the village to try and catch a bus back to Tepic. As it turned out, I just missed the last bus of the day by about 20 minutes. So they took me to the clinic, where the clinic administrator told me that there was a small child on the way to the clinic from a distant village, and that they were planning to transport her and another patient to the hospital in Tepic by ambulance later that night, and that I was welcome to ride along. So I sat down outside the clinic to wait. Thus began my crazy adventure. It's been 4 hours since Jason left me at the airstrip in the mountains. It's now gotten dark. There's a lot of strange sounds. I can hear running water and crickets and night birds and I don't know what all else, but I'm hoping I can survive the night. The mosquitoes are out, but not too bad. It was just a dog. I think it's a dog. I'm worried maybe, being up here in the mountains, there's jaguars and whatnot, so you gotta always kind of be keeping your head on a swivel and looking for what might, okay, not a Jaguar, what might be coming, on your sides. So let this be a lesson to you folks. I had to move from that spot because there was just too many strange noises. But I gotta say, it's a beautiful night. There was not really any clouds in the sky, and it's moon shining right here above me, as you can see. And it really is beautiful out here. Oh, thought it was a Jaguar. Well, here's a little update. It's about 5 hours since I got left at the airport. Or should I say, abandoned at the airport? No. The sky is, well, the moon is a lot higher, and it's very bright and beautiful. I haven't seen or heard any Jaguars recently, so I think all is well. Except I was chewing on some peanuts that I found, and I think I broke a tooth right back here. Can you see it? Wow, what an adventure.
2 hours later.
Well, it's about hour 7 since I was abandoned here on the airstrip. Well, I'm not on the airstrip anymore. I had to crawl down under a tree. You can see the moonlight peeking through the branches. I had to do something to hide from the wildlife and whatnot that might be out here, but oh well. Oh, look at that moon, it's so bright. I don't know. I'm hoping to get a ride out of here sometime soon, but we'll see. Don't let this happen to you. Actually, I have been here for about 7 hours, but I just got an update from one of the paramedics that flew out with Jason to keep the patient alive. Actually just arrived back by car, and he told us that the patient lived through the flight and got to the hospital and was still alive last time he saw her. So if I have to spend a night with the Jaguars, I guess it's worth it if it saved her life. So I was happy to hear that.
It was a long wait, but I did survive. I was finally notified that the patient had arrived and that they were ready for the long drive to Tepic. As they prepared the ambulance for our trip, I couldn't help but notice how empty the shelves were. I asked the paramedics about it, and they told me that there's no money for equipment, that they have to scrounge around for whatever equipment they can find. Anyway, we loaded up in the ambulance and then began the most harrowing ride of my life. I'm pretty certain that the driver had aspirations of competing in the Pan American race across Mexico or something. The road was extremely rough and windy. As the ambulance careened around the hairpin turns, I could feel the tires skidding and hear gravel showering the wheel wells.
Well, I was finally rescued, riding in the back of an ambulance. It's 10:18 at night, and I'll probably get home now. I'll hopefully get home by 2 o'clock or so, but we'll just have to see.
The sick child was riding in the front with the paramedic while I rode in the back with the mother and another sick lady. We had to stop once along the way while they revived the child. They had run out of oxygen and it was uncertain whether she would make it to the hospital or not.
Well, we're partway home. We're in some place called Las Cumbres. I can see Ruiz over there, Santiago, and over this way is Tepic. I know you can't see anything. I barely can because these ambulance lights are so bright. But it's 11:16. A couple more hours yet.
One eternity later.
A little update. We made it to Tepic just now. It's 1:37 a.m. They're gonna drop me off at my house after we finish unloading the patients. Well, they unloaded the patients, but they're just getting them put in the hospital, and then they're gonna supposedly give me a ride back. So, okay, I'll be home soon.
It was a strange night, but I would definitely do it all over again if it meant saving a life. During the course of our regular ministry flights, we do frequently have calls for medical evacuations, and we're so happy that God is able to use the skills and resources of our UIM Aviation team for His glory. Please remember us in prayer as we continue to serve the Lord here in West Central Mexico. We definitely couldn't do this without you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.